Hello and welcome to the first ever 6th episode of Whoniverse. You're here with myself, Jamie,
Brian,
and Lewis.
That gets better every single week.
I think we actually lost it a little bit at the end there,
I think, Brian, you need to bring your pitch down a bit. Lewis, yours is a little bit too low. I thought you were a child for a second. Mine was perfect.
So more like a...
See, that's what I used to do at the beginning of the podcast, but it sounded horrible when I listened to it back. But I think if we all go for like the sort of... Ooh.
just for the readers, that actually wasn't the BBC Radiophonic Orchestra, that was us. I know, yeah.
Copyright Whoniverse. So, I set you both homework for this week's opening discussion, where I wanted you to research British history, urban legends, and think about what sort of Doctor Who episode we'd want to see in the future. Not necessarily Jodie Whittaker, although anything's better than what Jar Jar Chibnall's done so far. So, let's see. Who should go first?
We don't know if flip a coin.
Well, do you feel like you've put in the most effort?
I don't think I put a lot of effort into it.
Straight away, I know Brian's done more effort than you, so go on, Brian.
Okay, so my idea, the year is 1882.
Okay.
The location, Portsmouth.
Ooh.
A young GP has just set up practice. His name? Dr. Arthur Conan Doyle.
Oh.
This works into mine as well, by the way, but keep going.
He receives a knock on the door. A mysterious space-time traveller and his companions, or her companions.
Ooh.
Seeking shelter from the rain. A series of adventures. The Doctor solves a mystery that's been confounding the local police force. Sir Arthur follows them round, making notes.
Making witty quips along the way.
The Doctor's still been quite street, as she has been in the last series. Turned at the end, asked by Graham how she worked it all out. And she went, it was Sherlock Holmes. So Arthur Conan Doyle goes, I've been looking for a name for my new detective character.
Oh, so it turns out Sherlock Holmes was based on the Doctor all along.
Yes.
Oh, what a brilliant turnaround.
Oh, it's excellent, yeah.
Mine actually goes perfectly into yours as well. I would love to do an episode in 1917 based on the Cottingley Fairies, following the heartbreaking tale of Elsie Wright and Francis Griffiths, where they discover fairies dancing in the woods. The girls take photos which go into publication and it takes the world by storm. But this causes mankind to go to the Cottingley Forest and hunt down these fairies, which resulted in many fairies dying, and the little girls later on deny the photos were real and pretend their adventures were made up in an effort to protect the fairies' civilization. I think it would be interesting to see how the fairies lived, where they came from, how long they have been on Earth, and most importantly, how they got along with humans before and after exposure. Kind of like the Smurfs, actually, now that I think about it. This episode would also have a guest appearance from Arthur Conan Doyle, who is at this point knighted, so Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who is a big believer and admirer of fairies, and could be a plot device to convince the girls to deny the photos are real and to protect the remaining fairies. And I think that would be a truly heartbreaking story of how these little girls make the discovery of their lifetime, but then are forced to keep it a secret and deny it was ever real in an effort to protect an ancient civilization. And they eventually pass away being branded liars. I think that'd be really heartbreaking. So go on, Lewis.
Right. Okay. So
How horrible is yours compared to ours?
Not too genius like.
Because it's like we're on the same wavelength.
Yeah. No, I know.
Mine could actually be a sequel to Brian's, like a couple seasons later,
So
like the reappearance of Arthur Conan Doyle.
So I went more of a concept sort of way rather than actually trying to write out the storyline. So basically, I initially thought of the idea of walls. You know, like for instance, the Berlin Wall, Hadrian's Wall, Antonin Wall, and Trump's Wall,
Donald Trump's
Wall.
yeah.
So I thought that
I
thought that the episode could be sort of mapped around the bonds that connect people and what we have in common rather than the differences that we have.
Yeah.
And the way eventually all of these walls must fall. You know, this was my idea. I figured that since the Silence were a big part in in the Cold War and the space race, and therefore the space race, we could link that in and make it all sort of a continuation of the Silence's main story.
Yeah.
Sort of the Silence have fallen because of what the Doctor did in the previous episode, Matt Smith's Doctor did in the previous episode to have to expose them to humanity, and this is sort of the cooling off period in that in the sort of tension that they created. So as I say, concept not really put together very well. Didn't think too much into it. It was all done while I was meant to be working today.
Wow, if only I had a whole week to prepare, Brian. If only. I mean, we recorded this podcast last Wednesday.
Yeah.
The previous one we recorded that on a Wednesday, so you literally I came up with the idea to follow it. So you had about 6 days, Lewis.
Yeah, I did.
And what did you do? You said, let's talk about walls.
I literally came up with this.
Might as well do an episode on the Lego.
In 10 minutes today, but I thought that the wall concept was interesting. He could make comments about Donald Trump, and it'd be...
We kind of did in one of the episodes, the one with arachnids in the UK.
Yeah. He was obviously supposed to be Donald Trump.
Clearly based on him, yeah.
Yeah.
He literally built a building to keep all the poor people out.
Excellent.
Yeah. Me and Brian were actually discussing how we should decide whose idea is best. And we thought maybe it should go down to a vote sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I thought it's a little bit too much information to put onto like a Twitter poll. So I was thinking, if you wanted, Brian, if we all like recorded like an individual video each, uploaded them separately, and then the person who got the most views before the next podcast is uploaded would have the best idea.
Okay, so a video is in...
So you just talk at a camera, pitch your idea. So it's basically pitching your idea to the audience.
Okay, so that
would you be alright with that, Brian?
That would be homework for next week.
No. That's just something for you to do ASAP.
Yeah.
We'll all upload. I'll upload all the videos on the same day as well.
Okay,
let's do it.
Yeah, are you cool for that? And we'll announce the results. Making a video. It's a bit of a timely thing. You got like sort of work out how you're gonna word everything. So there's no like time limit on this. If you can't get to it for like 2 weeks, don't worry about it. Okay. Obviously, I don't have a kid yet, so I can do this whenever. But Brian, you're preparing for your wedding.
Yeah.
You have a kid,
Still.
which Layla takes. And I know like you both. You love it up between you, so it's evenly split between you. So. So I think
Jamie appears to have bellowed in his criticism of Lewis's home life.
So I think that about does it for the first section, which I've also given a working title, Topical Who, where we discuss a different topic every week for the opening topic, sort of like a warm up into the show. Someone actually mentioned in the comments last week, stop discussing the format of a show and the name of each subject. But a topic was like, we're still warming into like our roles within the podcast, and some names are going to change. I like my name Topical Who for an opening topic. If either of you got better, sounds like Tropical Who, but could be a cocktail.
Umbongo Who.
Have you got better ideas, or if you've got any suggestions for next week's opening topic, let me know. So that brings us on to Lou News, or whatever you want to call your section.
Yeah, I have given it some thought, mainly while I've just been washing up in the kitchen or cooking something or that sort of thing. Basically, I haven't settled on anything yet. Tea and biscuits in the TARDIS, like maybe something like this, or news. It's something to do with the TARDIS and news, like TARDIS news. TARDIS News Time, I've been.
That's a good idea. What about TNN? TARDIS News Network.
TARDIS News Network. Yeah, actually, that works quite well. But moving on, here we go for the second section, the Who News, or the TARDIS News Network, as it's now been.
Is that what you want to call it?
I think we're going with that, yeah. Because
I'm a goldmine of ideas, aren't I?
Right. So I've got a few bits of news this week. One of them being non-news, but meh. So John Callis, some of you may remember from Only Fools and Horses, the man who played Boise.
Yeah.
Can I get you best, Marlene? Anyone? No.
Yes.
No. Okay. Well, anyway, John Callis, he's always wanted to play the Doctor, and he's repeatedly requested to the BBC that he play the Doctor. He was in an episode of Doctor Who. Working across from the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. He played a character called Scobie. Okay. So that's that for that bit of news. I don't know.
How's that news? That's just a history lesson.
I know, but it's he's recently tried to get the role again, which
I thought you were going to say he died or something. He recently died. That's why it's Who News.
Right, so here we go. Confirmed by the BBC that, I don't know whether we've had this one, but confirmed by the BBC that we won't see the return of Doctor Who till 2020.
So, does that also pretty much confirm that the
next
next special is also going to be on New Year's Day?
On New Year's Day, I haven't seen anything in terms of special and where they're moving that about to. I have, however, seen a little bit of news in the Mirror this week that states that they're planning on changing the time slot of Doctor Who from the Sunday back to the Saturday.
Yeah, we should do that. There's more people free on Saturdays.
Well, that was the idea. They feel there's more people free on Saturdays, and
Brian, was Doctor Who always broadcast on a Saturday previously?
It went to Wednesdays, and it was either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday and Wednesday when the sort of Colin Baker era. I think that was an attempt of the BBC to pitch it against Coronation Street, so the viewing figures plummeted.
Seriously?
Seriously.
That's quite ridiculous. But then again, I remember when ITV... Well, I wasn't there, but when ITV launched, the famous radio drama Archers had a fire just to stop people from tuning in and pulling audiences away from radio.
Right, and just on to the last bit of Who News. Recently, animation has been released of one of the lost episodes of Who. If anybody wants to see some of old Who, Brian, I remember having a quick convo with you about this, as he's our Who'storian earlier on. It's the episode The Macro of Terror. Or the Macro Terror?
Just the
Macro Terror. Okay, I had to defer to Bri for that. Now, this is going to be released on the 25th of March this year, the reason I brought this one into it is because there has been a lot of chatter about making feature length animations of Doctor Who. There's nothing confirmed as of yet.
Okay.
But they're thinking of releasing brand new storylines. So storylines that just haven't been told in the past.
Yeah, I still think it'd be really interesting to go back to the first Doctor. I've forgotten what his name was. The guy who played
William Hart.
Not William Hart, no, the person who played the first Doctor again.
Oh,
David
Bradley. Yeah. I'd love for him to go back and. If they were to get a brand new cast together, lookalikes essentially, and sort of recreate the lost episodes. I mean, Brian, correct me. I just don't think we're going to be able to find those episodes again. Like, I think there's some episodes where we just have to face it; they're not coming back.
No.
We've got stills, we've got scripts, and for a lot of them, we got sound that we can work off to work out how the episode should have gone.
Yeah.
And I think while we've still got David Brad, I mean, as shame as it is to say it, I think he's in his late 70s now, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we're not going to have him for much longer. And as selfish as it is, I want him to spend the rest of his life playing the Doctor. And if we're going to carry on having these breaks with Doctor Who, maybe with each break of a new series, it should go back and have David Bradley doing in between series for the original Doctor. But what do I know? I don't work at the BBC. I'm just number one fan who started the podcast about Doctor Who. But whatever. Is that everything for TARDIS News Network?
That is the end of the news. Yes.
A couple of items well, more like one item, to be honest with you. Some books are being brought out based around the Brigadier.
Oh really?
Yeah, so there's a Brigadier fact file, all about the Brigadier's life, non-fiction. Fiction really, I suppose, but... And there's a couple of new Brigadier stories coming out.
Oh. That's really interesting. So what sort of adventures would we get onto with Brigadier? Like,
I'm guessing it's his time with UNIT, so...
So the Doctor will make an appearance, but not really.
Possibly
be like
fleeting appearances.
It'll be in between, because you hear a lot of stories, but the Doctor is basically what Doctor Who is. It's just telling a story of things that have happened, but never really going through what's happening. So it's like the past is so amazing, and what happens in the actual episode so always pales in comparison. So you're so starstruck by what happened in the past. You forget how bad an episode can be. Thank you, Tube Noel. So it'd be really interesting to see these epics that the Doctor's like spoken of in book form. Like, I'd also love to hear some audio dramas on it as well. I know there are some Big Finish Brigadier stories as well. Have you got a theme song for TARDIS News Network?
I haven't. I'm still working on
News. News.
Oh, no, it's definitely not going to be that, Jamie.
For goodness sake, naughty Dalek. So, moving on to the next section, we had voting in the TARDIS. Who put this suggestion forward? I think it was Bri, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So, best science fiction monster, we had the Rancor, the T-1000, the Sandworm, and the Xenomorph. Now, which do you think won?
I would say the Xenomorph.
I want to go with the T-1000.
T-1000. You're going to be really surprised.
Okay.
Now, which would you have voted for? Like, personally, I'd have voted for the Rancor, just because I was very young when I first saw Star Wars, and it's probably one of the first giant science fiction monsters I ever got introduced to, and the imagery of the door landing on its head has really stuck with me. It's probably the first gruesome thing I ever saw on television, so it's kind of stuck with me the entire time. But unfortunately, it didn't win.
No?
Not even close. Who would you vote for, Lou?
Probably T-1000.
T-1000, any particular reason?
Similar to your own, like Terminator was one of the first proper sort of darker movies that I saw. This machine trying to kill the protagonist.
I'm surprised T-1000 didn't win, to be honest, due to its links to time travel.
Yeah.
It's a strange one. Bri?
I would have voted for Xenomorph. Say how you do. It's just kick-ass, isn't it? Acid for blood. And just awesome.
And who was the first person to die in Alien?
John Hurt.
The Doctor. The War Doctor. It all goes full circle.
It's all wheels within wheels, isn't it?
But John Hurt died in everything that he ever...
and eventually died in life as well.
Yeah, the late John Hurt.
So, once again, we have failed to split the audience with a landslide victory of 59% to the Xenomorph. It's 59%, guys. We have to do better. This isn't good enough. To be fair, third, second, and fourth was really close. In third place was the Rancor at 16%. I lose my word. Second place was Rancor. Third place was the T-1000, 15%. Sandworm, 10%. Sandworm. I love how nobody mentioned the sandworm until I just read off the.
Yeah. So what we were saying was second place was the Rancor, third place T1000, and the Sandworm came in last.
Last was 10%.
Yeah.
To read some comments, we got D4WH Pod, whatever that means. The Xenomorph can rip you apart like a Rancor, is indestructible like a T1000, and has a sandworm in its mouth. No contest. So
that's a pretty good comment.
That's a pretty good point, yeah. Strong Dude 69, don't ask. The T1000 has to be one of the most iconic, but I don't see it as a monster, so I voted Xenomorph. Maybe do a best robot poll next. T1000, C-3PO, Optimus Prime and Bender for fun.
Very nice.
So that's a suggestion from Strong Dude 69.
I do like the idea as well.
How he doesn't see T1000 as a monster.
Yeah.
He killed innocent foster parents. That's the actions of a monster, in my opinion.
I think what he's referring to is because it's not flesh and blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's purely mechanical. It's not like it's not an android in a half.
It wasn't the T3000 that killed the foster parents.
No, T1000 was Robert Patrick's.
No, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Come with me if you want to live.
I'm not sure I agree with you.
No, well, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you are wrong. Accepted.
Okay.
So, for the poll next week, we'll put a pin in that one because I do actually really like that idea, but I want to hear your suggestions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lulu, you did have a good suggestion last week where you were talking about best science fiction device,
yeah.
But the options you gave were too broad.
Yeah.
You said, you pretty much said phaser, that can literally, I know it's Star Trek, but
Star Trek,
it can literally be anything, you might as well say gun.
Yeah, I suppose. There are a number of things that use that same technology. We could have a better look into it and see,
Yeah, because I do really like that idea, so I was kind of hoping you'd thought about it over the week.
I thought that the portal gun would be a definite, to put in there, from Portal.
Yeah. Yeah, the portal gun is a good one.
Alright, so yeah, I was wrong about the T1000. Robert Patrick was the T1000 there, just to...
Robert Patrick. Yeah. So you're going to have a think about that poll for next week then?
Yeah, I can have a think about that poll for next week. I'll look for more poll-friendly options.
The only reason I brought it up again is because it was mentioned in the comments in one of the polls, where they said, on this poll, where somebody did actually ask, so what are the other options going to be? So I think there was a bit of anticipation as to what options you come up with.
Right. Okay.
So I kind of hope we won't do it this week because you need to think about it. I'm like thinking, what's the flasher code from Men in Black, for example?
It's called a nebulizer.
Nebulizer or something.
Yeah, nebulizer.
There's a nebulizer from Men in Black, which is one of my personal favourites.
Yeah, quite.
So there's loads of different things. You can use.
Saying best gadget then.
Yeah.
Best science fiction gadget, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can have a think on that one, can't you?
Yeah, and it doesn't even need to be from a film. It can be from a book. It can be from a game, anything like that. So
try not to landslide the.
No, I mean it's got to be something. It either has to be for things that are absolute cult following, or for things that aren't.
I want the percentage of votes to win to be at 25%.
Well, I'll try.
That's if you can do math, you'll realise
that's funny.
Have you come up with? Have you got any suggestions for a poll or?
No, I do like Strong Dude's idea.
I really like that idea as well. There were a couple of comments, but I put that one in there because it's the only one that actually came up with a suggestion for another poll. So I thought
anything that saves us work.
Anything that saves us work. So, do you want to use those options as well? Is there any other robots you'd want instead? Like, can we see a landslide victory in there? Like, T1000 was in the previous poll, for example. Mm-hmm. Should we maybe take that out due to repetition?
Yeah, and I think that the T1000 wouldn't be as popular as some of the other contenders. I think Optimus Prime would be quite popular, and C-3PO as well.
What they called in Battlestar Galactica? The Cylons?
The Cylons. the Cylons, but you'd have to pick a specific Cylon like number one. But I mean, even then, you're not looking at a contender there for the top position. You'd need 4 powerful contenders, you know. We'd have to have a think about this one.
Yeah, of course.
So,
yeah.
C3PO and Optimus Prime are 2 really powerful contenders. I think if you throw Bender in there, he's just not going to do.
I think what Strong Do 690 said is pretty much it's from Bender in for fun.
For fun,
yeah. He knows Bender's not going to win, but he just wants to see how many votes Bender gets. Which
I'd vote for him.
I think I'd vote for. He's probably the most fun one there.
Yeah.
You know what? I probably prefer Bender out of all those options. If I'm quite honest, T1000 was cool. C3PO. I don't know, it's between C3PO and Bender actually for me. C3PO and Bender. But then it's like, which C3PO is it? Is it the one before he got his mind wiped or the one after he got his mind wiped? Because they were a bit different.
Two different C3POs, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, if that's the case, I suppose you don't want to throw in 2 robots from the same thing, because you could just have favourite Transformer or favourite Star Wars robot.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Bender has done some time travelling. The T1000 has done some time travelling. We could do time travelling robots.
Yeah. Time travelling robots? Yeah. That's an interesting one, yeah.
Yeah, is there any other robots you think time travelled or? Technically,
I think.
I
on some Doctor Who, are you?
We can't have Cybermen, no. As nice as that would be. I was thinking for another poll in the future, we might actually do a Doctor Who poll. I did actually put on the It's a Doctor podcast. I put down who would win in a fight. 4 million Cybermen, 4 Daleks, or 1 Doctor. Cybermen are only good at one thing. What is that? Dying. We could kill you with 1 Dalek. that was probably one of the funniest moments in Doctor Who ever. It turned into a meme as well later on when memes became a thing. I tell you what then, right? I'll put a pin in this. We'll have a discussion about it as well on our own group as well.
Yeah.
And we'll hash this one out. So Brian, this is the part that doesn't actually involve you because you don't like class.
Hooray!
Which is classic. Thank you. Classic, like the next section like it's doing afterwards because it's classic Who, get it?
Very nice.
Segue. Anyway, so what did you think of Class, Lewis?
Right, it's picked up a lot.
It was amazing.
I think
Oh my God.
you know, the previous time we spoke about it, I hadn't watched the full episode. So for me, I'm reviewing the 2 episodes, and you know by now then that the story arc that was started in the first episode has ended in the second. So the petals are now.
That really disappointed me.
Yeah, you wanted it to go on a bit longer, and when I'd already seen it the day after we did the last podcast, so I didn't want to tell you anything that was going on, but I think that it's picked up. Those 2 episodes together are probably the best episodes that we've seen yet. I just think that there was a lot more to them. I thought that the petal monsters were a little lame though, but I did like the intertwining storylines between the shadow.
Well, I disagree with that. I thought the petals were amazing. I find the simplest enemies are the best ones.
Yeah,
it's simple. It's just one single petal came from a crack in space-time and bit one person, and from that chaos ensued, and it was like any moment now the petals are just going to take over, and I thought it was just perfect.
But they're totally single-minded. In fact, they don't have
which makes them perfect because automatically you can't reason with them.
Yeah.
What's the non-violent act you can do? They don't really have a mind. They just act and then they multiply, and that's their only purpose. That's all they will ever do. So I thought the whole concept of she's become Shadow King, and she was like, Shadow King, and makes them all disappear.
No, she sets the Shadow King on them.
No, she sets the shadows on them.
No,
she is the Shadow King.
They're called Shadow King though.
Oh, King. I thought it was King.
So she sets the Shadow King on them, yes. And the Shadow King destroys them all. But yeah, I felt that those 2... I was a little cringed out when before she jumps in the portal, she gets the daggers and gives it a bit of a scream, like before she goes through the portal to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
But I liked the fight scene between her and the Shadow King at the end there. He's telling her to kill him. She's like, no, I'm not going to kill you.
Brian missed out on the only fight scene in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. The only fight scene Brian missed out, and it was pretty cool.
It's not Doctor Who, it's class.
Yeah, it is pretty class, yeah. Class is a UK slang term for really good, by the way, for listeners in America. But I thought it was really good. I really hated her dad, though. He was such a bad actor.
Oh, he was a bad actor.
It was so annoying. Oh my god, I was
that voice as well.
I was like, please die,
yeah.
please sacrifice yourself. But he didn't. Oh my god.
Well, she cut a wedge out of him, didn't she?
I hate him.
I know.
It was just like, yeah. If I was, I'd want to kill myself as well. Was that bad? That's horrible. I'm sorry. I take that back. He was just so bad. It was just horrible. He was a bad actor, and I kept thinking, no actor that bad can be within the Whoniverse. I'm thinking he must be somebody famous, somebody of notable works, because he wasn't actually trying to act. I didn't feel he was just being himself. Like, this is me, I'm famous. That's what it felt like.
Did it?
Yeah, a bit like Robert Downey Jr. appears in this film. He just acts himself.
Yeah, he sort of had a rock star appearance to him. Sort of the late 60s, early 70s rock star appearance.
Yeah, like he was
a
Metallica reject or something. I mean, he is portrayed as a musician as well.
Is it?
As a folk musician, so maybe he does actually have some link to music.
Yeah.
I did actually need to look that up, because it's one of those faces where I kind of recognise him as well.
So, the development in this episode of the relationship of April and Ram, they got it on.
Yeah, he's got one leg, so he can't help but ram into things, can he?
But most embarrassing thing ever, you've just got your underway, right, and your mum walks in, okay?
Just as you finish off.
Just as you finish off.
You make eye contact. She makes eye contact.
Yeah, she makes eye contact with the person that you're sleeping with. It all kicks off.
Well, not for her. She's in a wheelchair.
Well, she's not anymore. That's the thing.
Actually,
April
at the end of the episode, she's in a wheelchair. Oh no, she can't. She walks.
She can walk, but she needs to rehabilitate. Because muscle wasting.
Yeah, because once she fixed her spine, even though the shadow came back out, it allowed enough time for the connections to form again. And this is what's enabling her to walk, which is a shame, actually. This is very millennial of me, so I do apologise. But it really annoys me where, someone's in a wheelchair, but automatically the victim, we have to make them walk again. We can't have someone not walking because Doctor Who's about running.
Yeah.
So I think it's really unfair. Like, that's why I really like Ryan in Doctor Who, because I thought, we're finally going to have an excuse for when someone's running for him to fall over.
Yeah, he's got dyspraxia, hasn't he?
Yeah, so it's like it's something like that, yeah. So he's finally got an excuse to fall over when he's running, which I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
But no, someone in a wheelchair, get him walking. Mm-hmm. He loses his leg, let's give him a big prophetic one from outer space. Yeah. We'll grow him a new one later on, but no one stays disabled, which is a massive shame. Everyone has to be perfect, everyone has to be fixed.
Well, isn't that just the drawback of television as a whole? Everybody has to be in a perfect condition.
Yeah, it's like the BBC is allergic to vulnerability.
Yeah,
which is a massive shame. But really, I think this episode was amazing. Probably one of the better ones. The best episode is still the coach with a dragon tattoo, Brian.
It's the only one I enjoyed.
It's the only one you watched, other than the first one. But you left the bar really high on that one, Brian, when you left class. But it's an amazing journey after that, and you're really missing out. Lewis, how would you rate this episode?
I think I got to rate it in a 2, so I need to rate it as the episode previous and the episode And I'd give it a joint seven. Sorry, just because, as you say, the dragon tattoo one was better. I enjoyed that one a lot more, and I believe I gave that an 8. So I give it a 7 because it was a really solid 2 episodes. You know.
What episode are we on? It's episode 4, isn't it, Class?
5.
Is it?
5. Yeah.
Okay. I think episode 5 of Class, I think I'd give it an 8. I absolutely love the story development. I love that we've got another monster, a Doctor Who monster that I can actually respect and actually fear. I actually felt like fear for the characters within the show. Matching to, that of when the Silence came around, or the, you didn't remember in Silence in the Library at the County Shadows?
No,
yeah, where you get like a feeling of dread watching it. Like, I don't know how. There's no way we're gonna get out of this.
Yeah,
it's too far gone.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was a Whoniverse anime that won it for me. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, it's 8 out of 10 from me. It's probably one of the better episodes of the show. Not as good as Coach with a Dragon Tattoo, but that was perfect storytelling.
Did you not feel that the Shadow King was a bit weak? That's what.
Didn't you love it when they both had sex and he felt it?
And he felt.
The Shadow King felt the sex.
Oh yeah. He started boning the other Shadow King.
Yeah. Oh, Brian, you're thinking WTF now.
Yeah.
I thought that as soon as I watched the first episode.
Because Shadow King's linked. It's April, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's linked with April. So when she was having sex, he was like, oh.
Yeah, he got hot.
Oh, and he got really horny.
Oh, and the
He was so cringy.
Yeah, there was a weird moment where the shadow person that he was getting it on with, she was like, "What? You're not into it?" And you're like, "What the fuck? That's cringy as fuck."
Well, I loved how after they did the deed, he killed her.
Oh yeah, he did.
I hope so. I hope it's still recording, Lewis. So moving on to the next section, before I have a heart attack. For the listeners at home, Lewis decided to touch the iPhone in which we're recording the podcast, and he accidentally activated Siri. So we don't know how much of the podcast is actually legible.
Siri idiot.
I was checking to see what time I swore.
Don't worry, because I basically what I do is on the way home I listen to the entire podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, not a problem. So
before we move on,
yeah,
your new section will be a history lesson. I'm going to exclusively reveal the classic story I'll be talking about.
Okay.
I polled on Facebook on the Classic Who Facebook page the best one to do, introduce new Who fans to.
Okay.
City of Death.
City of Death. Wasn't that in Whoniverse or Hogwash?
It may very well have been.
It does ring a bell, yeah.
It sounds like an episode from the first series.
No, it's a Tom Baker one.
Or is it a Tom Baker one? It just like, they're all very metal, all the names.
City of Death.
Classic City of Death.
So, before too long I will lend you the DVD copy, Jamie.
I'm so
I'm
excited.
sure Lewis will find a way of watching it.
Yeah.
Lewis, it's going to be legal and above the line.
I
course
can't
it is,
promise
yeah.
anything.
Okay. Are you ready for the most popular section of the show? Whoniverse or Hogwash? Whoniverse or Hogwash? Whoniverse or Hogwash? Is it real? Is it fake? Whoniverse or Hogwash. Now, there was a bit of confusion last week where you both forgot the rules, but that's probably because we hadn't played it in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recap the rules. I've changed them up a bit. You now also decide there's a maximum of 10 points in Whoniverse or Hogwash. Still 5 questions. You've got to decide if the episode is real and the description. Okay?
Okay.
Alright? And I'm also going to reveal the answers as we go along. Are you ready? Whoniverse or Hogwash? Doctor Who? Actually, who's answering first?
Well, I'll answer first. There we go.
Okay. In the interest of competition, I don't think you should reveal why you've chosen your answer until after you've both answered. So if Brian thinks it's a classic Who episode, for example, you'd be giving it away to Lewis.
So, good point.
So just straight in with the answer.
Straight in with the answer,
Yeah.
take Lewis's answer, and then we'll go into a why.
We'll show our workings after.
Yeah. Sorry, Lewis. Doctor Who, Destiny of the Doctors. The Doctor's nemesis, the Master, has taken control of the planet Ceralos, which is made of pure psychic energy. With his planet's power, he plans to mould the universe into his will. Whoniverse? Whoniverse? Or hogwash?
Can you repeat the title?
Doctor Who, Destiny of the Doctors.
Doctor Who, Destiny of the Doctors.
So it's separate answers for both the title and the description.
Right, I'm going to say that the title is Whoniverse.
Okay.
The description is hogwash.
Okay. Brian, you want to read it again?
I actually agree with my learned friend.
Your learned friend. Has anyone got a pen to keep a tally?
No.
No, we'll remember.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna remember. Okay. It's 1-1, obviously.
Mhm.
It's Whoniverse, by the way.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, right.
This is a video game
I thought it was a video game.
released in 1997 on Windows, featuring brand new recordings from Colin Baker, Peter Davison, and Sylvester McCoy. Hence why it was called Doctor Who, Destiny of the Doctors, rather than just Destiny of the Doctors. Next one. Brian's answering first. Star Trek, The Next Generation. Doctor Who, A Simulation Squared. That's Lewis's face. The Enterprise is under fire from the Klingon. Captain Picard is running out of ideas. Luckily, the Doctor turns up just in time to help bring peace in the universe. Don't forget, some can be hogwash. Or it can be Whoniverse hogwash or hogwash Whoniverse. The second one's always the description.
I think that is complete and was a hogwash on both counts.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Brian on this one. I don't think I've ever heard of Star Trek Doctor Who crossover, so I'm going hogwash on both accounts.
Okay. So, go on.
He's probably going to reveal that it's true.
It's actually Whoniverse hogwash.
Really?
This is an 8-issue limited series comic book, and it is a real official crossover between Doctor Who and Star Trek.
Holy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I own it.
Okay.
I'll bring it in one day. You can have a look if you want.
Brilliant.
It was published by IDW. Doctors. The Doctor is the Doctor who is looking in the mirror while stood next to a doctor who is looking in the mirror at the doctor who is stood next to a doctor. Lewis?
One more time?
So, the episode is called Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
The Doctor is the Doctor who is looking in the mirror while stood next to a doctor who is looking in the mirror at the doctor who is stood next to a doctor.
I'm going to say that the title's Whoniverse, the description's hogwash.
Okay. Brian?
I'm going to say hogwash for the title and Whoniverse for the description.
So you said,
I said title, Whoniverse, hogwash for the description.
and you said? The other way around.
Yeah.
So it's still a draw.
Right.
It's actually hogwash. I made up a description. I thought it was really clever and really funny and really confusing.
It's still one apiece.
Yeah. In an episode of the 9th series in 2009 of the BBC series Doctors, Sylvester McCoy made a guest appearance where he played a retired actor named Graham Capelli, who played a time traveller in a television show called The Lollipop Man, where he could travel through time with his lollipop stick. Where do I find this stuff?
Gross. It would have been better than some of the McCoy stories, to be honest with you.
One more time.
So it's still a draw.
It's one apiece, isn't it? We've only managed to.
So, the Infinite Quest. Who's answering next, by the way? Bye. An alien named Balthazar has set his sights on Earth, planning to compress its population into diamonds. The 10th Doctor and Martha Jones arrive on his ship, which he handcrafted himself to stop him.
Whoniverse.
Okay.
Yeah, the title rings a bell. I'm going to go Whoniverse with the title. I don't know whether I got Whoniverse or Hogwash with the thingy. Can you read the description to me again?
An alien named Balthazar has set his sights on Earth, planning to compress its population into diamonds. The 10th Doctor and Martha Jones arrive on his ship, which he handcrafted himself to stop him.
Yeah, Whoniverse, go on.
Whoniverse.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh dang it, still a draw. Whoniverse.
Excellent.
The Infinite Quest is an animated serial based on a British science fiction television series, Doctor Who. It was made by the BBC Television, but does not share the same producers as the live-action series.
I've actually seen it.
I think I have seen it.
I've seen it, yeah.
Okay. Next one. The Beast of Bodmin Moor. The Doctor has landed in the 1970s, Cornwall, where there has been reports of a large cat-like beast roaming the lands. Many have died up to now.
I'd say Whoniverse for the title, Hogwash for the description.
Okay.
I am going to say Hogwash for the title and Hogwash for the description.
So we actually have a winner.
Okay. It's Brian, isn't it?
The Beast of Bodmin Moor. The Doctor has landed in the 1970s, Cornwall, where there has been reports of a large cat-like beast roaming the lands. Many have died up to now. And you said?
I said Whoniverse and Hogwash.
And Brian?
I said Hogwash for both.
This is actually an urban legend that was
Yeah.
actually debunked by the UK government, who ordered a search for this animal. A leopard skull was later found to have been imported. It's a Hogwash episode.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I could make up one to tie in with the opening topic. That was actually one of my original thoughts for an episode, but then I found out it was actually debunked by the UK government.
Yeah.
But actually, it could work into unit. So, Brian, you're the champion.
Hooray!
After 2 weeks worth of draws on Whoniverse or Hogwash, you won the first one.
Yeah.
So you actually had an entire week as the champion of Whovian Whoniverse. So Brian, let's see if you can have a 2-win streak and take his record away from him. So, that's pretty much it from us at the Whovian Whoniverse podcast. Would you like to read the shout-outs at the end?
Yeah, so special thanks to Zit Farm for designing the logo.
Yeah, don't know what they do, but okay.
Farm Zits, I'm guessing.
Maybe we get into a zit and pop it from the inside.
just sort of like push up through the skin.
Yeah.
Or like,
Like
I'm just like, like
maybe a bit of Bollywood.
like a baby being born. Like,
Who knows, maybe we'll get Zit Farm in 1 week.
Yeah, or at least
Quiz him, her.
considering there's an entire segment dedicated to Zit Fam. Don't actually know if it is a girl or a guy. I looked at the DeviantArt page and found no hints.
Okay.
You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud and iTunes. Just Google Whovian Whoniverse.
You can follow us on Watson's Musings,
Beej 007.
and you can also follow Lewis in real life. Just
I want to encourage as many listeners as possible to stalk Lewis.
just stalk Lewis.
Please don't. Please don't.
No one knows what you look like, Lewis.
Oh,
Until we put the videos
Until
up.
the videos go up, and we'll know what you look
no,
like.
they've seen a picture of me already. The
Of
TARDIS
course.
cup. The
Drinking
TARDIS
out-
cup.
drinking out
Oh yeah,
It
you
got
Drinking
a
are.
out
It got
of
a
my
lot of-
TARDIS cup
Yeah.
Brian's TARDIS cup.
Yeah.
without permission.
How do you drink out of that thing, Bri?
It's for display purposes only.
Yeah.
Like a jug. So, you've been listening to Whovian Whoniverse. Have a week!